Good morning. My name is Natasha Mendez, and I will be doing a choice reflection on the September 2015 Arizona State Board of Nursing meeting. The Arizona State Board of Nursing currently consists of 55 staff members and 11 board members. These 11 members meet approximately every 8 weeks to discuss complaints received by the board and other board business such as approving advisory opinions and determining compliance with nursing education programs standards. The purpose of this podcast is to discuss the purpose and the structure of the board meeting, the outcome of the meeting, and my personal reflection about the board meeting. Purpose and structure. The board meeting began promptly at 8 a.m. The meeting was 2 days long and consisted of periodic breaks for the board members. At a long table sat the board members to review complaints brought forth to the board regarding NPs, RNs, LPNs, and CNAs. The board members sat at a long table side by side each other. In front of the members was a smaller table for the applicant being investigated could sit along with the investigator and at times the lawyer who represented the applicant. A podium was also available for the applicant to speak if warranted. The members would review 200 to 250 cases prior to the meeting and then would discuss the investigation at the meeting. It begins with the president announcing the case number and the agenda for the board members to reference to. The investigator of the case would come forward and sometimes the applicant. At this time, the board members would discuss the case. If the applicant was present, he or she had the option to give a verbal presentation to the board members. The board could also ask the applicant questions regarding the case. Outcome. After this, the board would make a motion stating the action, if any, should occur. Then the board would ask for the motion to be seconded. In order for the motion to pass, the majority of the members had to vote in favor of the motion. The board actions are divided into non-disciplinary actions and disciplinary actions. Non-disciplinary actions include dismiss and letter of concern. Disciplinary actions include civil penalty, desultory of censure, probation suspension, revocation, denial, and voluntary surrender. Personal reflection. I really enjoyed the board meeting. I was able to learn a lot from it. It was interesting to see the cases that were brought forward to the board. I saw several DUI cases. One in particular that stood out in my mind was a new grad that received an extreme DUI. The board argued on this case and came to a split decision. They decided to reinstate her license just after 9 months. They felt she had made a mistake. However, other DUI cases had more severe outcomes. I thought this RN was pretty lucky for the action she received. Several members of the board tried to compare her case to an earlier one that was seen that had gotten a worse disciplinary action against them. However, the president reminded the board members that cases cannot be compared to one another. There are several options that were offered to the applicants during their probation, such as courses to take, counseling, and performance evaluations. I like the board's goal was to help the applicant better themselves and hopefully not make the same mistake twice. It seemed like most of the applicants received a letter of concern, desultory of censure, or probation. One part I found funny was when the board was talking with a lawyer about an applicant who failed to call the state board. The lawyer said, "I tell all my clients if the board calls, just ignore them." All the members got a good laugh at that. Also during the meeting, the board referenced that providers should be using the online pharmacy verification for controlled substances. Apparently this has been recommended since 2009, the board stated. Last, there was one thing I was wondering about. At one point, there was a case that was said to be a confidential matter and would not be discussed in front of an audience. I was wondering what type of cases qualify for this. So overall, I enjoyed hearing the different cases and it brought me more insight into my own practice. Conclusion. Every other month, 11 members of the Arizona State Board gather to discuss, Every other month, 11 members of the Arizona State Board of Nursing gather to discuss complaints and other agendas. This meeting is open to the public and is viewed live on the Arizona State Board of Nursing's website. Many complaints are received monthly by the Arizona State Board of Nursing, but only about 75% of them warrant further investigation and are brought forth to the board members to discuss. Then it's up to the investigator to gather as much objective information as possible for the case so that the board members can make an appropriate disciplinary action for the applicant.